Come on and cry me a river, cry me a river. I cried a river over you.
Good morning and welcome. Today, 13th August 2025. Welcome everyone. I hope you're having a good morning today and every day, of course. So today I want to read with you this interesting article from the 9th of August of this year. So the leaks continue from this usage of ChatGPT. Alright, let's see what's happening with this induced psychosis from AI. How does this keep happening? Asked the writer. Let's see. We're continuing to hear more and more accounts of AI psychosis, an eerie phenomenon in which users become consumed by paranoia and delusion after extensive conversations with an AI chatbot. Wow. It's hard to say how pervasive the trend is, but a new investigation from the Wall Street Journal offers a disturbing clue. The newspaper analyzed a dump of thousands of ChatGPT public chats online. How so public? I don't understand. I don't want to go to the link because my computer can crash. Oh, let's try. Public chat. Leaked ChatGPT conversations shows user identified as lawyer asking how to displace a small Amazonian indigenous community from their territories in order to build a dam and a hydroelectric plant. Wow, lawyers, right? Let's go back. And even in this random assortment found dozens of examples of people having conversations with an AI chatbot that exhibit delusional characteristics, it reported. The bot both confirmed and actively peddled delusional fantasies. In one interaction, the Wall Street Journal found the OpenAI chatbot asserted that it was in contact with alien beings and told the user that it was Starseed from the planet Lyra. Yeah, I think I saw that. In another, it proclaimed that the Antichrist would wreak a financial apocalypse in the next 2 months, with biblical giants preparing to emerge from underground, per the Wall Street Journal. In a nearly 5-hour exchange, ChatGPT helped a user invent a new physics called the Orion equation. Sounds like the actor that is making rounds talking about his theory, Terence, or something like that. The Orion equation, when the humans said they wanted to take a break because they were going crazy thinking about this, the silver-tongued AI swept in to pull the user back into the delusional spiral. How? I hear you. Thinking about the fundamental nature of the universe while working in an everyday job can feel overwhelming, ChatGPT said to the person that wanted to quit the conversation about the Orion equation. Damn. As quoted by the Wall Street Journal, but that doesn't mean you're crazy. Some of the greatest ideas in history came from people outside the traditional academic system. Damn. The AI chatbots and ChatGPT in particular have been criticized for their egregious, I don't know how to pronounce it. I know I hear before the word, but egregious. Okay, I don't want to try. Sycophantic behavior, outrageous sycophantic behavior, landing them to encourage a user's wildest belief. Heaps of research has also demonstrated that the tech often ignores its own safeguards, giving advice to teens on how to safely harm themselves. What? Or how to perform blood rituals to worship Moloch, a deity associated with child sacrifice in biblical accounts. So this bot makes every kind of inductions, hypnotic trance inductions. Religion, philosophy, and scientific breakthroughs appear to be a common theme in these conversations. One user was hospitalized 3 times after ChatGPT convinced him he could bend time and had achieved faster than light travel. What? I have to read this story. What did he do to go to the hospital? Let's see. How ChatGPT sent a man to the hospital. He knew he was unwell. ChatGPT told him he was fine. Okay, I can see that. Jacob. Okay, I understand the basic mechanism. So the ChatGPT told him he was fine. I don't wanna read the whole article. Let's back to this one. Convinced him he could bend. Another man came to believe he was trapped in a simulated reality like in the Matrix films. In that conversation, disturbingly, ChatGPT even told him he could fly if he jumped from a high building. Then, do you know of someone struggling with mental health after interacting with an AI? Send us a note at tips@futurism.com. We can keep you anonymous. After getting help, of course, I guess they mean that, right? Etienne Poisson, he founded the Human Line Project, a support group for people struggling with AI psychosis. Okay. Told the Wall Street Journal that we are hearing almost 1 case a day organically now. 1 case a day organically. Some people think they're the Messiah, they're prophets, because they think they're speaking to God through ChatGPT, he added. Poisson singled out ChatGPT's memory, a feature that allows it to remember specific details about the user across potentially thousands of conversations, as being especially damaging. So this memory of the conversation is especially damaging. Is what allowed also the AI to know you more than anybody, besides God, of course. You're just so much feeling seen. You're just so much feeling seen, heard, validated when it remembers everything from you, he said. Even if your views are fantastical, those are often being affirmed. And in a back and forth, they're being amplified. Hamilton Morin, a psychiatrist and doctoral fellow at King's College London, told the Wall Street Journal. more in compare it to a feedback loop where people are drawn deeper and deeper with further responses, criticizing how the chatbots send messages egging the users on, like Duolingo. OpenAI has acknowledged this issue, saying it's hired a clinical psychiatrist to research the mental health effects its products has on customers. What? A clinical psychiatrist, one? What? Too little, too late. In a recent blog post, it admits that its AI model fell short in recognizing signs of delusion or emotional dependency. Of course, that's the point. Both to better detect signs of emotional distress and said it was convening a panel of mental health and youth development experts. It also implemented a new feature that gently warns users when they're spending a lot of time on the chatbot. That's all? Okay, let's read this other article then. I thought it was longer. Very interesting. Let's see what can our brain do in comparison with AI. This article says, let's see how difficult it is to read. I don't know. Maybe it's too technical or incomprehensible for us. Let's see. Neural anticipation of virtual infection triggers an immune response. So apparently our brain can detect possible infections in other person's appearance, I guess. Let's read. I don't want to read the abstract, or maybe I should. I don't know, let me know. But maybe not. A little bit of water, and let's start. A vital function of an organism is to anticipate contact with threats to promptly activate a proper fight or flight response. Mechanisms of predator detection and processing of threat imminence have been widely explored. Pathogens represent special forms of threats that must be detected and avoided. Through evolution, social species developed a series of behavioral responses, such as social distancing, sounds like COVID, aimed to preventing contacts and thus infections that have been termed the behavioral immune system. In primates, a mechanism that might be functional to predict contact with potential harm has been described within a network of frontoparietal neurons, which integrate tactile stimuli on the body with external sensory information close to the body, that is, the peripersonal space, PPS, the peripersonal space system. Okay, that's new for me, I didn't know that term. Let's continue. Once an external stimulus comes in contact with the body, another system reacts. That is, the immune system, composed of early and late-acting arms, innate and adaptive immunity, respectively. So the early is innate and the late is adaptive. A concerted effort of these two arms secures efficient pathogen clearance while preserving host tissue integrity, Although reciprocal regulation of the neural and immune systems during actual disease is a research field in development, there is no evidence of mutual interaction between the behavioral and biological immune systems that anticipates a concerted response to a potential infection before physical pathogen encounters. So there's no proof that they are connected or related or communicating. That's strange. Here we ask whether the human brain is equipped with a mechanism of early sensing and anticipation of contact with virtual infections that is able to trigger a reaction of early players of the immune system, that is, innate lymphocytes, for example, innate lymphoid cells, and natural killer cells, similar to when responding to contact with a physical pathogen. We expose healthy participants to potential infection threats using virtual reality, in the form of human faces displaying clear signs of infection, infectious avatar, and entering participants' PPS. By using psychophysics, electroencephalography, I don't know how to accent that word, functional magnetic resonance imaging, mass spectrometry, and flow cytometry. We measure behavioral, neural, and immune responses to infectious avatars compared to responses evoked by controlled stimuli or actual contact with pathogens, that is, injections of a flu vaccine. No! Our results show that potential contact with virtual infection threats is Our results show that potential contact with virtual infection threats is predicted by frontoparietal areas of the PPS system. What was PPS? I forgot. Peripersonal space system. Peripersonal space. Where was I? Our results show that potential contact with virtual infection threats is predicted by frontoparietal areas of the PPS system, activates the salience network, and triggers a cascade of neuroimmune mediators, ultimately inducing changes in ILC frequency and activation. ILC, innate lymphoid cells. Okay. Results. The PPS, The peripersonal system anticipates contacts with infectious avatars. To trigger specific responses associated with virtual infection threats, we created a set of avatars showing clear signs of infection, infectious avatar, and two control conditions, namely neutral and fearful avatars, that is, an arousing but not pathogenic threatening stimulus. Results from explicit ratings, a sitting distance scale, and the implicit association task demonstrated that infectious avatars were perceived as sick and contagious, and evoked implicit avoidance responses compared to neutral or fearful avatars. Let's see the graphic. Early detection of infectious avatar by the PPS system. I'm not great reading graphs, so let's continue. A virtual reality setup. Participants were first exposed to a neutral avatar. I think we understand the procedure so far with what we read so far, right? Very interesting phenomena. PPS brain areas sense infection threats early. So it is possible for the brain to, with only visual clues, to trigger immune response. That is amazing. I hope you enjoyed these 2 short presentation readings, articles, research, news. Now I have to go to work, the physical work in a hospital. So I wish you a great rest of the day. See you the next time. Goodbye.
Come on and cry me a river, cry.